The CEO, Elon Musk, has just announced on the company's website that the company is going to be opening up all of its patents for other automakers and others in the auto industry to use.
It is rare and it is bold. Tesla is sharing its secrets, opening its patents for the world to see.
We haven't seen this type of move from any automaker.
This is completely unusual when it comes to the auto industry.
Tesla's decision to open up its patents is a perfect example of both the allergy to convention this electric car company seems to have, and also the tremendous scope of its ambition. They're not just trying to build a car company, they are trying to build a whole new industry, one that would mean a shift from today's gas guzzlers to zero-emissions electric vehicles, with massive implications for the economy and for the climate. Tesla is that rarest of success stories, a successful and innovative young American automaker, with a stock price that has exploded over the past 5 years, an astounding $30 billion market valuation, and a claim for selling what Consumer Reports considers the best car you can buy. I had a chance to sit down with Elon Musk, the visionary behind it all. So we were doing research when we were doing a segment on Tesla, and we were going back through the archives of American car startups that have failed.
Right, is a big archive, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's actually a big Wikipedia page. It was actually kind of fun. It's like, oh, I didn't know someone tried. I was like, wow, well, you know, all these dreamers.
Yes, a big graveyard.
So why are you guys, how have you avoided that fate so far? Why is Tesla working so far?
Well, I think, you know, when you look at the other car companies, there wasn't really any big technology discontinuity. There wasn't some sort of step change in technology that warranted the creation of a new car company in America. Whereas with the advent of electric cars, I think it's the biggest change in automotive since the moving production line. It's a really substantial change, and it does lend itself to expertise from outside the car industry. And I think that provides an opportunity for a company like Tesla. And in fact, I've somewhat been surprised at how much of a lead we have. We actually don't want to have the lead we have. We're hoping that other car companies would follow us faster.
You just had this patent decision, and this gets to the point you're saying. You're further ahead of other car companies than you would like to be.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain kind of broad interest you have in the diffusion of electric cars, right?
Right.
Is that what is driving your recent decision to essentially not pursue intellectual property claims on your own patents?
Yeah, we decided to open up the patents because we think it's important that there be a lot of electric cars in the world. You know, a lot of people say, well, is this really an altruistic decision? Does altruism even exist? No company would really do that. But I think it's important to bear in mind that we're really all on the same ship, you know, of being Earth. You know, if Tesla succeeds, but then the sort of climate is destroyed, I mean, I'm not sure that actually helps Tesla.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's sort of like let's say you were on
and the AC, you have to crank the AC, which runs down the battery.
Yeah, right. It's a self-defeating situation. But I mean, I'm not sure what the appropriate analogy is. But I mean, a ship-based analogy might be appropriate here, where it's like, let's say there's a bunch of people on a ship and there's a bunch of holes in the ship, and you know we're quite good at sort of bailing the water out of our section, and we've invented this nice bucket. It would be foolish of us not to share that bucket design, because if the ship goes down, we're going with it.
Now that you are selling batteries to some other car companies, what do you see happening in the rest of the car industry? I mean, can you imagine that we're going to see a slide towards kind of battery plus electric drivetrain, or not? I mean, what do you predict that the other car companies are going to do as this technology develops?
Well, my observation of the car industry thus far is that, with a few exceptions, the only electric cars that are made are driven by regulations. You know, or in other words, like the governments will say you've got to make some number of electric cars. They'll make it sort of, you know, that exact number and no more, which is quite a small movement. The other force, I think, is competition. So if they see that, well, if they don't make electric cars, then they're going to lose market share, then I think that will get them to make electric cars.
Meaning you guys are the proof of concept from a market perspective. If you start making a lot of money, if you start showing that people will buy your car, then you're going to see the rest of the industry flood in.
Exactly. So if people are if consumers show that they want electric cars, they buy our cars, and they buy our cars instead of gasoline cars, then I think that makes the big manufacturers set up, take notice, and say, well, maybe we should have a serious electric car program. because otherwise Tesla's going to take away our market share. That seems to be a good forcing function.
How far are you from that point?
Well, we're pretty far from that point. We're very tiny. Last year we did 22,000 cars. This year we're aiming to do 35,000. So on a percentage basis, it's quite big growth. But considering that there were almost 100 million cars made last year, we're not even next to the decimal point. So we've got a ways to go before we even get next to the decimal point in percentage market share. But we are doing quite well in our particular segment. So if you say premium sedans in the United States, we actually were the best-selling premium sedan last year in the United States, in terms of the high end, yeah.
Now, if there's a single person best positioned to say where we are and where we need to be on the issue of climate change, it's Elon Musk, who is at the forefront of the fight to rein in carbon emissions. I asked him where we now stand, and what he said really surprised me. That's ahead.